Day in the life of a contemporary romance author who is a mother of 4. So this morning after getting my kids off to school, I got to head on over to the tire repair shop because my husband was taking our daughter's Jeep there because it had a flat tire that needed repaired. Thankfully, he had a lighter load of work, so he could actually help me out. Anyway, I got home, I started filling up my water bottles, and it usually takes 3 water bottles to get me through the day. Anyway, I go into my office and I start putting on my makeup while I listen to my book that I have been working on. I'm only 4 chapters in at this point, and the writing has been touch and go lately because life is just busy and there's lots of things going on. So I like to listen to my book to kind of refresh my memory of what is happening in the story and kind of orient myself on what I need to do with my writing for that day. And as I am listening, I am catching a few things that I need to make some tweaks to, so I kind of swivel back and forth between the various desks that I have in my office to kind of update the manuscript in those places and then just continue on. Then once my makeup is done, I pull out my bullet journal to get set up for the week. It's Monday morning, and so I just really like to kind of look ahead at what I have going on, all the appointments, all the places I need to take my kids to, and just some of the goals that I have for my author business and my writing. And also it's like my only other hobby besides writing and another way to express myself creatively, and so it's just nice to take a moment for that. Then I go into my bedroom and decide to finally make the bed, because I've gotten out of the habit of doing that the last couple weeks, and so I decide I am going to be the best version of myself today, and so that includes making my bed and then folding my laundry so that my room can be a pleasant place to walk into instead of a place that tells me about all the ways I am not keeping things up during this really busy stage of life. Then, of course, we have to take a moment to show our kitty, who is very curious about everything. But of course, while he is in there with me, he starts clawing at these chairs that you see right there with his claws. And so I decide, well, that's not okay. So I decide to get the clippers out and trim his nails with the hopes that maybe he won't ruin all of our furniture. We have only had him for a few months, so we haven't had to clip his nails too often, but he does such a good job. He's such a big boy, much better behaved during this process than my other 2 dogs. Yeah, I just clipped his nails, and then I came back to find him literally just still clawing at this. Naughty, naughty boy. Anyway, now that I've taken care of a few of the household tasks, I go back into my office to print some of the orders that I received over the weekend for the signed paperbacks from my shop. So I get those all printed out, and then I sign the books, pack the orders so that I can take it to the post office later on. Then once that is done, it is time for me to finally start working a little bit more in my manuscript. And so I get to work on finishing chapter 4 in my book. I had quite a bit of it written out, and I had brainstormed where I wanted to finish things off, and so I just finished that up. And once I get that done, it is time to go to the post office and then grab myself some lunch. And you know how sometimes you go through phases of what restaurants you visit? Well, lately I've been on a Subway kick, which is funny because I'm pretty sure I took like a 10-year break off of them. Growing up, I loved Subway. It was my favorite place. But then, I don't know. I stopped going, but now it is just good again. I get to buy myself a foot long and have lunch for 2 days. And since Wicked for Good is coming out later this week, I have to, of course, jam out to the music to be ready. So welcome to my concert. Anyway, I get home and talk to my son, who stayed home sick from work today. He had been gone all weekend, so I took a moment to catch up on what he had been doing with his friends. And then I went into my office to eat my lunch, since I do tend to eat my lunch in my office most days, because since I do work from home and handle a lot of home and kid stuff during the workday, I try to multitask when possible. And so today, while I am eating my lunch, I'm actually listening to a lot of the brainstorming notes that I had for my book, because I've been feeling a little lost and not quite sure where I wanted to go. So I needed to kind of remind myself on a lot of the ideas that I'd had for this story going forward. Okay, so I have been spending a lot of the afternoon just like brainstorming again, more like outline, because I went through my like brainstorming document that I started a long time ago when I started thinking about this book. So I went through it and just kind of reminded myself of a lot of the scenes that I wanted to write and different ideas. And then now I am kind of putting them in order and then adding other things in and just trying to form more of a solid story, because I did not have that really. I haven't had it the last few months. Like I kind of knew, you know, what I needed to do to start. I knew a couple of things I wanted to do, but it just was not like super concrete. And so it's just been stressing me out and made it hard to like want to write, because I'm like, I don't know what I'm writing. Like I know the main tropes, the main idea, but like not enough to know exactly what I'm doing in the book to feel confident to like write every day. And so I've had a couple of really bad writing weeks because of that, because I tend to procrastinate when I don't know exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, I'm rambling, but I have a little bit more figured out. I'm gonna just keep on working on that, but that's kind of what I've been doing most of the afternoon. So yeah, it just takes time to piece it together. Then I took a little mini break to let my dogs see that they were barking at nothing. But, you know, it's always good to know that they're there to make sure that I'm safe. But after their little interruption, I get a little bit more work done, and then it's time to pick up my kids from school. Usually the late afternoon is actually my best time for writing, but since I've already done so much, my brain is a little bit tired. So since I have about 45 minutes before I need to take my daughter to dance, I take a moment to make a post for social media, and then we get into the car and I take her to dance. And while I'm driving home, I of course have to jam out to my favorite song from The Greatest Showman. But while I am driving, there is a dog who is like right on the side of the road, sniffing at something and like rolling in it, but he's literally right there on the line and did not care that I was right next to him. So yeah, that was a little bit distracting. Once I'm back at home, I get to work making dinner for my family. My daughters are super busy with their dance schedules, so we don't get to have family dinner every single day, but when everyone can be home, we do try to make it happen. Gotta do a little cheers because we got the fancy glasses out tonight, which is fun. Well, we survived family dinner, and the kids have been doing their dishes, chores, and then now we're gonna play a game. There's the teens arguing about something. All night. Anyway, we have some family fun with the two younger kids, since the older two decided to go off and do their own thing. And then Jared and I did end up going for a walk, but this is the last thing I filmed, so that's the day in my life.